back to another episode of Overland Exposures. I'm Brandon Rainese. This is a channel where we drive around, go camping, take pictures, make videos, and eat lots of good food. If you like that, please consider subscribing. It's been almost a year since I've had this Insta360 1R, and I would like to share a few things that I've learned along the way about this wonderful camera. If you've seen the other video, there's some things that I don't like about it. I've almost lost this door twice in the sand. Most of which have been addressed through either firmware updates or actually just new components for the camera itself. So I want to go over some of the highlights of this camera that I personally enjoyed over the last year, and some of the things that I look forward to in the new model, the RS. 1R. One of the initial complaints I had about this camera was that if I wanted to use the flow state stabilization that Insta360 had, that I would have to either input the footage into my phone or into their proprietary software prior to then putting it into my editing program, which I use Final Cut Pro. And it just seemed like an extra step for stabilization. Luckily, that was all updated later on via firmware update. So you can now have full in-body flow state stabilization in camera. You don't have to do anything extra to the footage. It's a setting within the camera. So we greatly appreciate Insta360 actually taking the time to listen to our complaints. No doubt in my mind, Insta360 is one of the best manufacturers when it comes to actually listening to their audience and applying what they want in firmware updates in future generations. If you remember my video when I went to Hawaii where I initially was complaining about the modular design, one of my major complaints was that moisture and grit could creep into the modular design. You guys gave me such a hard time for using my camera in the ocean without a dive case. I did end up getting a dive case per recommendation because, you know, maybe I want to take it a little bit deeper, and also I don't feel like getting all the moisture and grit in there every single time I take it out, regardless of the depth. I am happy with the quality of the case. I am happy that it accommodates the 1-inch sensor mod because, you know, when you're underwater, you need more light. So that is cool. One of the things that I actually came to appreciate about the modular design was that if you break one part of it, you don't have to replace the whole entire camera. You just have to replace whatever you broke. In my case, last week I was riding a motorcycle, which I usually have this amazing handlebar grip that I use for, and I forgot it that day when I went out riding, and I ended up using this chintzy old plastic GoPro clamp grip, and it broke. My camera took a fall, and I don't know if you can see it on there, but it got a nice little chip right about there. Good news. All I have to do is replace that part. I don't have to replace the whole camera. Bad news is it's very difficult not to chip a 360 camera when you drop it because they just stick out. I know there are cases and other designs in place to protect them, but it's always going to be at the cost of like glare or image quality of some sort. So I try not to use them, and I'm going to pay the price for it this time. Talking about other designs that I hated about the camera was the actual case and the way that you mount the camera within it. All that's been resolved on the RS. So the way I understand it, the new case will actually accommodate this older model camera. Another cool thing about it being modular is that most of the components are going to fit throughout generation to generation. Just like any other action camera, it comes with tons of accessories, and here are some of my favorite that I've found useful when I'm out in the field doing what I do. First and foremost, I really love this motorcycle grip. You can mount it pretty much anywhere, although I typically tend to mount it straight onto the handlebars, or sometimes I'll put it on the back seat. It says you can mount it on a helmet. It's a little bit heavy for a helmet mount. I think I would go a totally different option if I were going to mount it to my helmet. But this thing is a beast. When it's locked in, it's locked in. It's not going anywhere. Smooth as rails footage coming off of a dirt bike, which is really, really impressive. So this is one of my very, very favorite things to clamp onto the end of that camera. This mount is another one of my favorite mounts. It's a suction cup mount that they make, and it's a really, really cool way that it engages the camera. It's like this little pin with a quarter turn, and you push the lever down, it locks in place. You loosen this to adjust how you want it to be mounted, and then you lock that in place, and this thing just sticks onto whatever surface you're wanting. Well, not whatever, it's got to be like something smooth like metal or glass, and that thing is stuck. I've used this on the Jeep several times on off-road trails, hauling butt, and again, no problems. This thing held tight like a champ. Highly recommend that one. All right, then there's this guy. I really, 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 really wanted to appreciate this. Let me show you how it works. It's just like a quick mount system, basically. This is meant to fit in all sorts of these other adapters. You can have one on a selfie stick. This one's meant to stick somewhere. I really want to like the concept because it's a one push release, but the problem is that I've noticed the receiving ends of all of these are slightly different tolerances than others. This one is rock solid, it doesn't move, but if I throw this on the one that I have on my selfie stick here, it actually, it makes like a, it's loose. I don't know if you can hear that. Can you hear that? It's loose. So you hear that when you're vlogging and you're walking around, all you can hear is your microphone picking up that thing shaking. Really, really wanted to like this. It is super handy. If audio is not a thing for you, it's not gonna shake enough to distort your image, but it is gonna shake enough to be picked up by the microphones on board, thus ruining your audio. So if audio is not a thing for you, then these mounts work great. You can put them pretty much anywhere. Speaking of the selfie stick, if you're gonna get a selfie stick, this is the one that I recommend. It's way better than their first generation. First generation, you had to do like a quarter turn on the thing to get it to then pull out, which honestly, like it just started unscrewing your camera then and the thing wouldn't turn. This one, way better. It just pulls out. It's shorter, more compact in its folded up design, and I think it's just about as long or longer. I know it's definitely lighter. Feels great. It's not all gritty. There's no sand in there yet or anything like that. If you're gonna get a selfie stick for anything, even if it's not a 360 camera from Insta360, just get their stick. It's the best one. Also, the new version is said to have a better, longer lasting battery. We all appreciate that, especially when we're trying to capture every single moment, all the time. I know I kind of made a stink about it at first, but in all honesty, this camera does go everywhere with me. I really, really love the 360 mod. It hardly ever comes off. I do use the 1-inch sensor mod occasionally, but for the most part, I really like the 360 footage. It's a lot of fun. You never miss anything. You have the ability to come back in after the fact and choose what angle your shot gets to be. It's just really fun. And for that reason, I will be upgrading to the newest, latest, greatest model as soon as I can. I do look forward to all the new options and nuances that that camera comes with. Thanks you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please smash the like, hit the subscribe, do all the things. Leave me a comment down below. Are you looking forward to the new Insta360 RS, or are you gonna stick with the old one? See you guys next time.